Yerp, it's Perp back with another video, and let's get right to the shit. So, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, dropped this past Memorial Day weekend, and the box office didn't do so well its first weekend. Not to say it won't be a success over time, depending on how long it stays in theaters, but there's been some very outlandish takes that have been coming out over the last 48 hours or so. And I just want to kind of give you my 2 cents on everything and why Furiosa underperformed at the box office. And it's not what you think. It's not because, oh, it's a female lead. The people that are still on that train of thought, it's just, y'all are part of the problem as well as why people can't enjoy movies nowadays. It's not just the fact that Hollywood be on some fuck shit when it comes to some of these movies. And I acknowledge that there are bad movies. There's always been bad movies being made as long as Hollywood has been around. There's been bad movies in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020. Every decade has its fair share of bad movies that are just terrible quality, whether it be the special effects or the script or there's the acting, etc. It just seems like nowadays everything just gets overblown, and there's a lot of things overall that just frustrate me about this whole conversation, because Furiosa is most definitely one of the best movies to come out this year, but there's a lot of things to factor in when thinking about why this movie didn't perform as well over this Memorial Day weekend. Keep that in mind. Memorial Day weekend. We're going to get back to that. So, for one, this movie is 2 hours and 30 minutes. Now, some people will say that's a way too long of a movie to kind of just be sitting through. It depends on the movie, you know what I'm saying? And I even said in my review that you could have shaved some of that runtime down, but it still didn't take away from me enjoying the movie and thinking that it's one of the best movies to drop of the year. But the runtime is not the issue here. Now, it's rated R. When I first initially started to watch this movie, I was like, oh shit, they're really pushing the boundaries with this PG-13 movie. But then I thought to myself again, I was like, wait, no, this is rated R. So it makes sense why that's one of the bigger factors as well. Now, the box office for rated R movies have kind of changed. But like I said, it depends. Like Deadpool and Mad Max, a Mad Max movie, are going to perform completely different. Like, you see that already with the pre-sales and stuff with Deadpool 3, that those ticket sales are going to go through the roof, and that's a rated R. But with Mad Max, it's a completely different beast, and it's kind of geared to a completely different audience. And that's a bigger factor into this movie as well, as the audience. And it also has nothing to do with there not being a Mad Max in it, because people knew that going in. And maybe that is a downer for some people. Some people get really weird about that and think, oh man, we're tired of these quote-unquote girl boss movies. And they look at, a lot of people are still stuck on that stupid anti-woke, that everything is woke type of narrative, or where just because it has a female lead, it's woke. And it's just a lot of dumb shit that's coming out of this. I look at it as, it's very simple, right? It's Memorial Day weekend. If you're here on the East Coast, right, you know how long it's been cold. You know how long, when people get cooped up, you know what I'm saying, in one spot, especially over here. They're going to go to the shore. Like every Memorial Day weekend, even in the summer, like people stay down the shore, bro. I don't know how it is for other places around the country and stuff like that, but around here, people are going to go to the shore. So factor in that a Mad Max movie, period, doesn't matter who's in it, is always going to cater to a small demographic of fans. It's not going to be on some Marvel shit. It's rated R, you know what I'm saying? So it's not family friendly. So people aren't going to take their kids to go see this. They're going to take their kids to go to the beach or go walk the boardwalk or probably go into the city or something like that. Another thing that annoys the fuck out of me that has come out of this conversation is the fact that just because it opened very low or underperformed, that means that theaters are dying. Nobody wants to go to the movies anymore. Like, how many times have we kind of gone through this and then we get a movie that just completely kills it at the box office? There's quite a few movies that have made a lot of money. Just because it doesn't make a billion doesn't say that, oh shit, theater chains are done. You're going to have your ups and downs every fucking year. You know what I'm saying? It's in just any kind of field or any type of industry. 2024 has been a really interesting year. You've had a lot of bad movies, but I would say you had a lot more better movies than bad ones, in my opinion. And we're not even halfway through, and that's another thing. I think people just need to expand their palette, man, when it comes to these movies, because for so long the box office has been dominated by Marvel movies, and I feel like that has definitely plagued and hurt the movie-going experience to an extent, because it's like now people have these like weird takes when it comes to certain movies, or they'll come up with all the excuses of the world not to go check something out. You know what we need to just start doing is saying, fuck these YouTubers, me included, fuck Rotten Tomatoes, fuck a Cinema Score, fuck just all this other extra shit. Even start saying fuck these trailers. Just go see a movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, me personally, like, when I look at like a poster, that's usually something that, like, I'll go check out a movie just off rip. I know not everybody's going to do that. They need a little bit more information, but the less that you know, the better the experience. And I feel like just more people just need to go out and support these movies more than anything, because it's a lot of people complaining about the theater experience or just the price of tickets, even though AMC A-List is a thing, which you can see pretty much up to 12 movies. Don't matter the format. Doesn't matter the price, you know what I'm saying, for just like $26 a month if you're just single. And I understand it's different if you have a family, but there's ways to get around shit, you know what I'm saying? So ticket prices is always going to be a thing. Like, for me, in my local theater, ticket prices have only gone up like a few dollars. Like, I remember when Wolf of Wall Street came out, that's when tickets were like now hitting like $11 from like $10 for so many years. And right now, regular admission's not even at $14. It's like $13.99 or something like that. So it hasn't really gone up too crazy. But ever since I've done A-List, bro, I've seen way more movies. I mean, last year alone, I watched 130 movies in one calendar year. Now, I know that's not going to be everybody, you know what I'm saying? I was going kind of crazy. But out of those 130, I've watched like probably 100 somewhere in theaters and stuff like that. But my point being, though, with the whole shit is there's a lot of people complaining that don't even go out to support these movies, or whenever there is a good movie out, they do not talk about it. Unless if it flops or there's some negative press around it. Because if Furiosa was a success, like it hit 100 million worldwide or something like that, or some crazy ass numbers, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. People wouldn't be having this whole fake ass panic of, movie theaters are dying and just being so, I don't know, man. It's just, there's always going to be good movies coming out. You gotta just get out of your comfort zone, because I feel like a lot of people are just reliant on these bigger budgeted movies too much. And I think that needs to change, and that is changing. And that's what I've noticed from 2022 up until this point, and just the overall theme of the 2020 movies is the smaller scale, smaller budgeted movies are getting way more exposure than they were like 10 years ago, because a lot of those smaller movies were never being put out in the theaters. There was never really a demand and stuff. Like, well, there was demand, but like the certain theaters just weren't playing these types of movies. And that's where you gotta go if you want to have a really dope experience. I know it's not going to be for everybody, but hey, like I said, just step out that box. You never know what you might find, and you'll start to enjoy things a little bit more and stop listening to a lot of bullshit. And just, not to say like the theaters need to not fix their issues, because they do have issues, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that they're gonna have to figure out, and definitely make it more suitable for people to kind of come into theaters. Like, Cinema Day is a great idea on paper, but depending on your area and your theater, it's either going to be the greatest experience or the worst day of your fucking life. But they should do more of those, you know what I'm saying? Do us once a month, you have a discounted day. Even though they have like discounted Tuesdays, you could still have that one day extra where you could come in, see a movie for like $1 or something. Do something crazy to entice people to kind of go into theaters. Like, they barely make posters anymore. It's really rare to kind of get a poster. They need to start doing that more, giving out posters, because that's just a nice little incentive. But moral of the story, at the end of the day, these movies their success is all dependent on the viewer. Y'all should go support Furiosa. Go check it out. Obviously, if you are of age, because it is rated R, you know what I'm saying? Go support these movies. Stop listening to hearsay. Go out and check this out for your own opinion, for your own thoughts. Movie theaters are going to be just fine. There's going to be plenty of movies that are going to be very successful, hit $1 billion. You know what I'm saying? We got Deadpool right around the corner, because once that comes out, you're going to see a lot of people switching up. A lot of people going to be flip-flopping. This happens every fucking time, I'm telling you. But let me know how you guys feel about this whole conversation about Furiosa. Have you checked out the movie? And if you haven't checked it, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. You should go check that out right now. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Till next time, I'll see y'all in the next one.